Joe Scarborough is going to do something that he rarely does make sense. So he's going to go after Republicans for disagreeing with Obama after Obama has agreed with them.
But the president's not leading from behind anymore on ISIS. No, he's not. He went in aggressively and prevented genocide from happening to a religious minority that had genocide practiced on them 73 times before. No, he's not leading from behind there. He's not leading from behind. He's arming the Kurds, something that, of course, Republicans said they were for, but now they're not saying, thank you, Mr. President, for doing what we've been asking you to do. Don't know exactly why. We aggressively worked to retake a dam from ISIS. All I heard this weekend was criticism of the commander-in-chief. That's fine, I guess, if that's what you want to do, if that gets you off, seriously, we're in the middle of a crisis and you want to talk about, what happened in the rearview mirror? That's fine. And now we're getting ready to move into Syria. I'm sure there are going to be more criticisms about that. I read a piece yesterday where it's not enough. It's never enough. I understand it's not enough. What do you want? What do you want?
Very rarely do I say this, but I agree with Joe Scarborough. What he's saying is, wait. So Republicans are going after Obama because Obama's not being more interventionist in his foreign policy. He's not going after ISIS. Then Obama goes after ISIS, and what do they say? God damn, why don't you go harder after ISIS? Wait, what? But he did go after ISIS. Before you were just screaming about going after ISIS. Now you want to get into all the nooks and crannies and details about how he should go after ISIS. And even there, you agree with him, but still you're going to pretend like you disagree with him as you agree with him on his policy. For fuck's sake, he's doing exactly what Lindsey Graham and John McCain called for. They're the biggest war hawks. And they said, hey, you should bomb ISIS. They said no ground troops, but you should go ahead and bomb ISIS. Well, that's exactly what Obama did. He sent a few military advisors on the ground, right? So you could argue, if anything, it's even slightly more hawkish than John McCain and Lindsey Graham. But he bombs ISIS, and now all of a sudden you're still acting like you disagree with him, even though he did the exact policy that if you wrote it down on paper, he did it. So it doesn't make any sense, and finally, somebody on TV is using logic in this area. And they're saying, wait. So Republicans are attacking Obama because he doesn't do X. Then he does X, and you still attack him. So and that proves that it's not about the actual issues. It's about just disagreeing for the sake of disagreeing because he's a Democratic president, you're a Republican, and that's just the game you play. Matt, you're wrong. I'm going to obstruct. I'm going to tell you you're wrong even if you do my policies. And this isn't the only area, okay? Joe Scarborough is late to this party. So when it comes to foreign policy, for example, he did the same thing in Afghanistan. I mean, the Republicans attacked him on his Afghanistan policy, but when he got into office, he increased Afghanistan. And I hated that, by the way. As an actual non-interventionist and as an actual progressive, I'm going, stop it! Why are you doing their policies? But he would do their policies. He increased Afghanistan. And then the Republicans would still turn around and attack him for doing what they said to do. I mean, how do you explain that? Drone strikes. Well, the Republicans love drone strikes. They can't get enough of it. So Obama does drone strikes. I hate it, right? They should love it, but they still attack him even though he's doing what they want him to do. How about the NSA? The NSA, he does exactly what George W. Bush did. Back then, they loved it. There's an infamous clip now of Sean Hannity talking about how, if you're against the NSA data mining, you're in favor of the terrorists. And then what happened the second Obama was doing the exact same thing? Well, now all of a sudden, you're violating the Fourth Amendment, and you're taking away people's privacy, and this isn't okay, and how dare you got to dismantle the program immediately. Now, I'm consistent. I hated it under Bush. I hated it under Obama. The problem with the Republicans is there's no consistency. There's no logic. There's no reason. There's no caring about the issues. It's just, I don't know. I just want to hate Obama because that's what I do. I hate Obama. He's a Democrat, and I hate Democrats, so I'm just going to disagree with him even when he does what we want. Even Obamacare. Obamacare is your idea, slappy. I mean, Richard Nixon was the originator of the individual mandate policy, which is the idea that you make people by law purchase health insurance from the private insurance companies. So in other words, you keep the capitalist sector in control and you make people go to it. That is a right-wing idea. It's Richard Nixon's idea. That's what Obamacare is. Later on in the 1990s, you had Newt Gingrich, Chuck Grassley, and a whole bunch of other House and Senate Republicans supporting that plan because the Heritage Foundation wrote policy papers about it. The Heritage Foundation is a right-wing think tank, and they said, this is our idea to counter Clinton care and Democratic proposals for health care, which is more of a Medicare for all system. So they're just not acknowledging the reality that Obama is you. He is you. He is a center-right corporatist. Okay? Wall Street should love the guy. The Republicans should love the guy. Even when the Democrats had a supermajority during the Great Recession and they were crafting the stimulus, you know what they did? As they had a supermajority, they still gave a third of the stimulus to be tax cuts. They allowed a third of the stimulus to be tax cuts. And they said, we'll do your conservative ideas even though us Democrats have a supermajority. I was one of them, I know. We were all pulling out our hair. Why would you do that? We know it doesn't work. It failed in the past. Just do pure stimulus, do a new deal, and double the size of the thing you're doing. But no, what did the Democrats do? They shrunk the size of the stimulus to make the conservatives happy, and they also made a lot of it tax cuts. When they didn't have to do it, they had a supermajority. They agree with you, for fuck's sake. How about on the budget? Did you know that the final Democratic proposed budget, which the debate was going on recently, it was the size of the original Paul Ryan budget, which was deemed to be way too tiny originally and to be incredibly draconian. But what happened? The Democrats eventually said, well, let's just propose the size that they like. That's what we should do. Obama supported it. The Senate Democrats supported it. And what happens? The Republicans still turn around, slap them in the face, and say, oh, now we want it to be smaller. They agree with you, and they're doing your policies, and then you still disagree with them. And then the final one I'll mention, the grand bargain. Remember the grand bargain? President Obama proposed himself cuts to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And this is something the Republicans have been dying for years. But the Republicans are so obstructionist and so obstinate that they said, no, even though you're giving us exactly what we want, we don't want it. Now, in this case, in a weird way, I actually agreed with the Republicans because they were so obstructionist and they hate Obama so much that they ended up accidentally being in favor of a progressive position. So I was like, thank goodness in that respect. But the overall point is undeniable, okay? The Republicans only disagree with President Obama because he's President Obama, because he's a Democrat, and they hate him that much. And Joe Scarborough is right for finally pointing that out and telling these people, hey, dipshits, how about you care about the policy itself, regardless of where other political opponents may fall on the issue? If you care about the policy, you support the policy no matter who else is in favor of it or not in favor of it. Period.